We're beginning here on Inishmore. At 8 miles long and 2 miles wide, it's the largest of the 3 Aran Islands. It's also the most populated, interesting, and visited.
Inishmore's main attraction is the 2,000-year-old fortress of Aengus, which hangs precariously on the edge of a cliff 300 feet above the Atlantic. The concentric walls of this mysterious Celtic fort are 13 feet thick and 10 feet high. As an added defense, effective even today, the fort is ringed with a commotion of spiky stones called Frisian soldiers. Sticking up like lances, they're named after ancient soldiers who used a wall of spears to stop a charging cavalry. Little by little, as the cliff erodes, the walls of this circular fort fall into the sea below. Aengus can be mobbed by day trippers, but since we spent the night, we're here early, and the place is all ours. I make a point to be all alone here, where the crashing waves below seem to say, you've come to the very edge of Europe. The place to commune with the ancient soul of Ireland is in its lush countryside. The peaceful Boyne River Valley, just an hour's drive north of Dublin, offers a world-class concentration of historical and spiritual sites.
In one day, you can see the capital of ancient Irish kings, some of Ireland's finest high crosses, crawl through burial mounds older than the pyramids, and be back in Dublin in time for dinner and a pub crawl. And that's precisely our plan.
The Hill of Tara was the most important center of political and religious power in pre-Christian Ireland. This was the seat of the High Kings of Celtic Ireland.
And this is the place where you find the soul of Ireland, here on this Hill of Tara.
Local guide Jean Thornton is giving us a sample of Tara's prehistoric, medieval, and modern history.
So for 5,000 years, people have come here.
People have come to Tara, and you can see they're still coming today. We know the Stone Age people were here. We know the Bronze Age people were here. We know the Iron Age people were here. This area was a very sacred place where ceremony and ritual took place. Now, you know, St. Patrick is our patron saint, and the shamrock is a symbol of Ireland. We are told that it all began here on this Hill of Tara. Now, in 432 AD, Ireland was a pagan country. Now, he came here to this Hill of Tara to ask the pagan king's permission to spread Christianity. Now, this is what St. Patrick used to explain Christianity to the High King. He used this as a symbol. There are 3 leaves and 1 stem on this little piece of shamrock. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And that is how he explained the Trinity, the concept of Christianity, to this pagan king.
The symbolic importance of Tara continued into Ireland's modern history. In 1843, Daniel O'Connell, the great champion of Irish liberty, gathered several 100,000 people here. Peacefully, they demanded Irish home rule. This ruined monastery, Monasterboice, is notable for its round tower, a standard feature in Ireland's early Christian churches, and its ornately carved high crosses. The Cross of Murdoch, named after an abbot who ran this place around the year 900, is considered the finest high cross in all Ireland. These crosses were illustrated with Bible stories carved into the sandstone. Originally, they were brightly painted. Imagine, 1,000 years ago, priests used these as visual aids as they taught the people. Tim Cullens, Dingle's retired police chief, is an amateur archaeologist who takes my tour groups around when they're in town. Today, his group is really small, just me and Andy. On this trip around the peninsula, Andy's learning some history the way I like to, from a local. Dingle Peninsula is like an open-air museum. It's dotted with more than 2,000 monuments dating back to 4000 BC. Some of Ireland's ancient and complex history can be sorted out by visiting these sites.
This is actually known as Dunbeg Fort. It's one of about 2,200 archaeological monuments we have on the Dingle Peninsula. This site was built by the early settlers about 500 BC. That is the date for it. It has been excavated about 25 years ago because half of it has actually fallen into the sea due to coastal erosion. I suppose there's no part of Ireland that has got so many archaeological monuments intact as you have got in the Dingle Peninsula. And primarily that's due to the fact that this area has never been industrialized, thankfully so far.
This remote peninsula was also busy during early Christian times. The Gallerus Oratory was a church built without mortar about 1,200 years ago. Shaped like an upturned boat, its finely fitted walls, stone without mortar, still keep out the rain.
In the depths of the Dark Ages, monks fled the chaos of continental Europe. They sailed to the far fringes of the known world, settling in places like this, Dingle Peninsula. Living in monastic communities of stone igloo-type huts, they kept literacy alive for Western civilization. In fact, Charlemagne, who ruled much of Europe in the year 800, imported monks from Ireland to be his scribes.
This was a typical layout of these early Christian monasteries, several stone-type igloos and a church within a fortified wall. The inner wall divided the community into two sections, one for work and one for worship. This monument now actually is 1,000 years older than what we've been already looking at. A slab cross erected by the Celts about 500 years BC, red sandstone, and they decorated this stone with these Celtic motifs, or these concentric circles which run through the front of the stone, and that remained until the 6th century AD when the Christians came and Christianized the cross by superimposing this Greek cross on the upper part of the old Celtic monument, thus displaying the two traditions on the one slab cross, the Celtic and the Christian.
When the English came in the 12th century, they replaced the old monastic settlements, like the one we just saw, with their own churches in an attempt to centralize their control. During that era, this ruined church was a center of worship for the peninsula. And here on Dingle Peninsula, the soil itself reveals the struggles of the Irish people.
Now, in prehistory, the soil here was worthless, very barren. This soil here we're looking at was actually made by the hard work and endeavours of the peasants that actually had to reclaim this barren land by going to the beach and drawing up seaweed and sand to augment the very barren soil that was there to grow their potatoes and their crops.
So there's seaweed and sand?
Seaweed and sand mixture and some peat, which has developed into a clay over the centuries.
Patch by patch, they created fertile fields for potatoes, climbing ever higher up the hillside. In 1845, they planted. But a blight swept across Ireland and nothing grew. The potatoes rotted in the ground. For the next 4 years, Ireland starved. The village of Dunquin, with its many abandoned homes, is a reminder that Ireland's population was decimated by the Great Potato Famine. In Ireland, you drive on the left. On narrow roads like these, take your time. Everybody works together in a scenic do-si-do up and over the mountain. With the help of a good map, I often take the slow, more memorable route. The dramatic Connor Pass leads to the scenic southwest tip of Ireland, Dingle Peninsula. Over 100 inches of rain a year give this area its famous 40 shades of green. Dingle Peninsula offers an ideal mix of far and away beauty, archaeological wonders, and desolate walks or bike rides, all within convenient reach of its main town. My Irish dreams have long been set here on this sparse but lushly carpeted peninsula. The people of Dingle are close to the land. When I asked a local if he was born here, he thought for a second and said, no, it was about 6 miles down the road. When I asked if he'd lived here all his life, he said, not yet. Dingle is so traditionally Irish because it's another Gaeltacht, a region where the Irish culture survives, subsidized by the government. While English is always there, the signs, menus, and songs often come in Irish, or Gaelic, first. Teenagers from Ireland's big cities come here for summer camp, filling old-time schoolrooms to learn the traditional language and Irish ways.
Time? Conas time, eh? Time? Will tu sásta nu Alicia? Anna hosta. Will tu sásta le rí?
Cad?
Will tu sásta le rí?
Tommy.
Oh, Anna Varfa, time sásta le rí.
And here, Irish songs are sung in Irish. And old churches do double duty as concert halls, where those enthusiastic about traditional music share their art. The town of Dingle is the perfect home base for peninsula explorations. It's just large enough to have all the necessary tourist services and a steady beat of Irish folk music. Although a popular tourist destination, Dingle still has a relaxed feel. This is a place where the fish and the farm still matter. A faint whiff of burning peat fills its streets. Tractor tracks dirty the main drag. And 40 fishing boats still sail from its harbor.